With reactions trailing the scuffle involving Bianca Ojukwu Obiano, wife to the former governor of Anambra State, and Bianca, widow of Bianca Ojukwu, which occurred on Thursday at the inauguration of Chukwuma Soludo as governor of Anambra State. The altercation began after Obiano's wife confronted Bianca about her attendance at the inauguration ceremony, while in a video that has now gone viral, Bianca Ojukwu was seen getting up from her seat and advancing where Bianca was seated. She allegedly assaulted Bianca, and as a result, Bianca issued her 2 hot slaps. As commotion ensued, Bianca Ojukwu could be heard using a vulgar language on Bianca. Well, let's take a quick look at the video before we come back for reactions. All right, you know, it's the vulgar language I did not understand. But let's take some tweets, Tundu, before I come to you. Well, Ola wrote, Miss Obiano finally made history. She was the first outgoing First Lady to receive outgoing slap. Congratulations, ma. History will never forget you. All hail Bianca Ojukwu. Well, 7th generation wrote, she's a lawyer, former Miss Nigeria. Her husband is a former governor of Eastern Region. Her dad is a former governor of Old Anambra State. She's a widow of a warlord. She is former Nigerian ambassador to Spain. She is classy. You can't come to her presence and be ranting. What happened there, Tundu?
Well, I want to start off by saying one simply does not fight at an inauguration. I mean, Governor Charles Soludo had prepared. This was his moment. And he's been rather upstaged by this situation. Basically. I thought the worst thing was proposing to your partner at somebody else's wedding, but fighting at an inauguration takes the cake. I just want to start there. And for me, fighting is always verboten. You never have to raise your hand to touch anybody. But I think what must have happened with Mrs. Ojukwu is that most of the time she keeps it classy, but yesterday she just wanted to keep it real. And she just wanted to react. And before you assess what somebody did, before you assess a reaction, you also have to look at the provocation that caused that reaction. And this has been in the offing for quite a while. There's a reason why Mrs. Obiano walked up to Mrs. Ojukwu, ill-advisedly as it turns out, to ask her why she was there. It's because Mrs. Ojukwu has been really vocal, and she's been vocal about how she feels badly treated by APGA. And while I don't agree with slapping people, do I understand her? Do I support her? Absolutely. Because she has talked about something that's very close to my heart. The fact that her husband's legacy is being trampled upon by a party and by people that he worked with and he served. She has been extremely upset about that and wanted to protect him. And it started in 2018 when she felt she was defrauded by not being given the Anambra South Senate ticket. And then there was a reconciliation in August of last year, and that took hours, and they all tried to hash out all the problems. But nothing changed, because when who's Governor Soludo now at the time, Professor Charles Soludo, kicked off his campaign in Anambra, Mrs. Ojukwu refused to attend because she said her presence would seem to sanction the appalling way her husband has been treated. She accused Governor Obiano and named him of going back to his vomit, she said, that he had removed all her husband, Dame Ojukwu's images all over APGA, a party that he served with his heart and soul. Now you want to put it back. And she just really accused Governor Obiano of trampling on this man's greatness. And I always have a problem with that. When people use somebody's name and what it represents for their own political points, but actually have no respect for that individual, have no respect for his legacy, and have no respect for his family, which is why I completely understand Mrs. Ojukwu's perspective. After that, when she did not show up for the flag off, there was another incident in November celebrating her husband's birthday posthumously, where she again took the opportunity to criticize Governor Obiano and talked about the fact that this party that her husband worked so hard for, he was the first flag bearer, presidential candidate of APGA. He wasn't a founder, but he's seen as like the spiritual leader of the party. Her husband worked so hard for this party, and to watch it all go down the drain with people decamping left, right, and center was upsetting to Mrs. Ojukwu, and she expressed that. But at no point did she ever criticize Governor Soludo. She has always supported him, which I suppose explains why she came to his inauguration, to support him.
Yes.
So I think Mrs. Obiano was in her own ill-advised manner, also trying to defend her husband. But we have now seen that that was just a huge mistake on her part. Like I said, I cannot sanction slapping people, but she's only human. Yeah. I really do hate the practice of tarnishing people's legacy and using people's name for political points.
Whatever may be the provocation, that show of shame, that desecration of Alaibo, that very ugly conduct on the part of two prominent women who should be regarded as role models, as role models for younger women in not just Igbo land or Anambra State, but the whole of Nigeria, is thoroughly condemnable. Now, what they did was to take the shine of the inauguration of Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo as governor of Anambra. Professor Soludo had intended this to be a very neat, dignified, quiet, brief ceremony, and he used the opportunity to lay out his agenda for the Anambra people: security, industrialization, culture, new tradition of governance. But attention was taken away from all of that because of a catfight between the two women. As of this morning, we were told that Professor Soludo has apologized for that incident, where he doesn't owe anybody an apology.
No, he doesn't, actually.
Instead, it is the two women that owe him an apology for upstaging him on his big day. In fact, I was just saying, I hope nobody will come and say that Mrs. Soludo also joined in the catfight, because he could have gone the other way. She could have joined the fight.
A three-way brawl.
You people don't come and spoil my husband's big day. Okay, that's that about that. So the second part of it is, yes, okay, they may have personal issues. Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu, wife of a warlord, may have reacted in that fashion, being provoked. Don't bring nonsense luggage to my doorstep. Don't you know who I am? I'm the wife of a warlord. Well, my point about this being two prominent women. Bianca Ojukwu has been most beautiful girl in Nigeria.
Yeah.
1988. She's been Miss Africa. She's been Miss Intercontinental. So something like decorum shouldn't be strange to her. She's been Nigerian ambassador to Ghana. She's been Nigeria's ambassador to Spain. She has been a presidential advisor. No matter the level of provocation, she should have been able to restrain herself in public because, this is about decorum. And as I said, she knows what it is. As for Mrs. Obiano engaging in street fight, she should have stayed in her lane, whatever the provocation. We saw the video. She left where she was sitting and walked up to a guest.
Catwalked.
And I don't know about catwalking.
Yeah, she knows about catwalking.
I know about
her dress was going all over the place. So she walked up to this woman and attacked her on a day that her husband was leaving. So she herself, even if she was defending her husband, she disgraced her husband.
Oh, yes.
Because, Governor Obiano, 24 hours earlier, I've been reminding the people of his legacy. The MC yesterday, oh yes, made the point, that this is Mr. Legacy. Now, the unfortunate thing is that the legacy that the people of Anambra and Nigeria will remember is that on the day Governor Willie Obiano was living, his wife turned March 17, I think that was the date yesterday, into slapping day in Anambra history. She made a different kind of history. So do the two women represent the average Igbo woman? I do not think so.
No.
And that is why Igbo youths are grieved. They have protested that this is not in order. Well, is it a case of provocation or is it a case of two fighting? Some people have said, well, maybe one party should sue the other for assault. But we're not interested in the legalese in this matter. We are interested in the fact that two prominent women who should be role models turned an important event into a catfight. And I hope that they will do quickly, they will act quickly, and apologize to the people of Nigeria, because dignified, decent people like us watching this thing from a distance, we also feel thoroughly embarrassed.
Dr. Bati, you mentioned decorum, right? That Bianca should have showed some decorum because she's been, everywhere, ambassador, Miss World, all of that. But a lot of people on Twitter are hailing her at this point, well, Nigerians, because obviously they expected her to be quiet and to be, classy. And I don't think a lot of people are blaming her. They are blaming Obiano. But before I come to you, let me pull up an old video of Bianca during her glory days.
I have something for you. Now, Miss Peru over here, where is she? Now, Peru, she took part in the mother-daughter pageant, and she won the look-alike contest with her mother. Now, I have been approached by an international organization, this mother-daughter pageant, and I have decided that you and your mother will represent Nigeria at the pageant. What do you think your father would say when he finds you and your mother taking part in the pageant in Hawaii in 3 months' time?
Oh dear, we'd both have to look for accommodation elsewhere.
This was my favorite video of her, Rufai, that was circulating over the social media yesterday.
17th March 2022, a very sad day for our country. A very sad day in International Women's Month. A very sad day for Anambra people. For people that were celebrating their governor, a new governor in the States that will bring them a lot. They will have this show of shame because of provocation. I don't care whatever might have happened in the past. You don't fight people in public. This is not the country we should build. Both of them, both the slapper, pardon my French, and the slappy are at fault.
Slapper and slappy.
Yeah, I'm using your words. I'm using your coinage, Ozzy. This is a shame in our country.
Yeah.
The fact that two prominent women, the mothers of Anambra states, mothers of the states, Bianca Ojukwu holds a very highly estimable position in that state. She's the wife of Dame Ojukwu. And the wife of the governor, or the outgoing governor, or the outgone EFCC arrested and released governor now.
Have that story.
In the States, doing all of that. And you see people are clapping for one over the other on social media. That's to show you societal decadence. We are in trouble in this country. Our society is finished. People are praising Bianca for slapping somebody in public.
That's basically what
That's to show you how useless society has become. And now I see this thing called Twitter and social media.
All hail Bianca.
This thing called social media. I think it's even time for people to take a break, because I don't know, maybe they need a mental reset.
Yeah.
It's to show you that we have lost our morals and value. If both of them are smart, what they should do is to apologize to the people of that state, apologize to Governor Soludo, and bury their heads in shame. We should say shame on both of them. No matter what have happened in the past, you don't do that in a public space at an inauguration. You came to a party, you crashed the party, you became the life of the party, you took all the drama to yourself. Because of what? Pure stupidity. It's a day of shame. It's a day of shame. And please, for everybody supporting one over the other on social media, you should examine yourself, because you should be ashamed of yourself. So that's what we celebrate now. People slap each other in public.